Yeah. So any doubts in the last class you have regarding use case diagrams? Anyone? So we have seen the use case diagram last time, right? Let me give you a quick recap once. So in the future, when we'll see all other diagrams, or especially this sequence diagram, so we will see how, for example, in a use case, you make some use cases. Now, for example, suppose you make a use case of place order. There is an actor here. He is associating with this place order. Second use case is suppose logged in. So these are your use cases. So if I just give you an example how this use case diagram or use cases will be used with future diagrams. For example, suppose you made a use case like this place order. So now what the question will ask you, how this place order, because this use case is in itself a sequence. For placing a order, you have to follow a particular sequence. So how this place order use case can be converted to this sequence diagram. This is how we use use cases or a use case diagram with future diagrams. Okay, this place order will be having its own sequence. Sequence diagram, remember now? There is one object here, another here, third here, and we follow everything in sequence. Then the system replies. The example which you have seen. So any use case can be converted into a sequence diagram or activity diagram or a state diagram, anything. Okay, this whole use case diagram can be converted to a class diagram also, or can be used with, not will not say converted, we will say used with, can be used with any of the future diagrams. Okay, so there are actors, use cases, system boundary, and relationships. Actors are these creatures. We have seen there are primary actors and secondary actors. Who is the primary actor? What is the total strength of your class? 60, 50, what you said, 61, 50. Okay. And in other classes, what is the strength students are maintaining? They're in the same number, 37, 38. Why you guys are not attending the classes? I mean, you are just at home now, right now. What is the issue? See, last time, let me remind you in the very beginning, I don't know if anyone has told you this or not. In the last semester, your online classes started from March, right? So there was a lot of haphazardness, uncertainty, what is happening. So everyone was permitted for the end sems. There was no attendance. No one must have asked you that you should maintain a 75% or something like that. So last semester was an exception. It has just happened. This time you will not be given any preference. Got it? So just maintain 75% attendance. And this time no faculties are recording the attendance because automatically your attendance is getting updated. So automatically your hall ticket will not be generated. There is no role of faculty, no role of CC, nothing. Okay, everything is automatically getting arranged. So just make sure from your side. That is why I'm reminding you. Okay, rest is up to you. So we have seen this actor last time. Who can be an actor? Any person can be an actor. Any organization, for example, bank or any company can be an actor. Another system can also be an actor. Okay, this is a very important thing because why this is important, because in the question, if it's something is written that suppose there is a Domino's, or suppose there is a security system, there is a security system that is interacting with the authentication system. Okay, and suppose this authentication system is inside the system boundary of the use case diagram, then how you will create this security system diagram? You will just create an actor, name it as security system, and he will interact. That's it. Okay, so there are primary actors and secondary actors. Just don't keep this thing in mind that primary actors are on left side and secondary actors are on right hand side. This is true, but this is not the way to distinguish them. How you will distinguish primary actors and secondary actors? Tell me how you will distinguish that, yes, these are my primary actors and these are my secondary actors. Yeah, primary actors are process initiators. Okay, process initiators means if suppose there are these 4 use cases, okay, and this actor customer is initiating these 3 processes, and bank is not on the left hand side, bank is on the right hand side, and bank is associating with this use case. So customer is the one who is initiating this process, and this process or use case. Only when the customer initiates this process, then only the bank will come into picture. So whoever initiates the processes are your primary actors. And yes, Tanu, right. The one who responds in the backend are the secondary actors. If suppose there was another actor here and he is just associating himself with this last use case, not not above 3, he is only associating himself with this last use case, so this he or she will also be a primary actor only. If you have made an actor, necessarily he has to associate himself with at least one of the use case, at least one of the use case he should be associated with, right? Then there are use cases. Okay, for example, these 4 use cases. Okay, in our system, customer is the primary use case or primary actor, and bank is the secondary actor. Whatever is written inside this box, rectangular box, only those things are in my system, or only those things are in my software. Rest other are just to show or for the visual appearance, nothing else. Right? And these were our relationships. Okay, first relationship is this association here. This association is nothing but just directly it means that this actor student is interacting or doing this thing. It is simply the association of this actor with this use case, means this actor is initiating or is associated with this use case, right? This is include means if this actor student is associated with this borrow books, or a student is borrowing books, or a student is initiating this process of borrow books, automatically in the backend this check fine will be included, and automatically this check reserved book will be included. Means you need not show that student is associating with this check fine, also student is associating with this check reserve book use case also. You need not show these 2 lines or association. Automatically when the borrow books is called, it will include the check fine and check reserve list. The opposite of this include is this extend. Extend means if suppose this is a student, forget this right now. If this is the student and he is requesting a book, means he is performing this use case of requesting a book, then sometimes in the backend, okay, for example, if a student is requesting a book, it is possible that sometimes he searches, or sometimes the search is performed in the backend, or sometimes the book is directly available to him. So not always this search use case will be called. This is meant by extend. Only in some cases this will be called. Just see the direction. For include, this is the base class, this is the include class. From base to include class it will go. For extend, this is the base class, this is the extend class. From extend to the base class it will go. Just keep the direction in mind, okay? Because this is not a code that will give you some error. You can draw direction in any way, you can write whatever you want to write inside the use case circle, but it will get as per the question. So how you will identify that what is my include and what is my exclude? For example, if you have observed, I've given you one assignment. So there is one use case there of the coffee machine. So they are written in English statements. You have 4 to 5 lines. So what you have to do first, how you will solve that case study? First, you have to observe your actors. Don't just take the question and start drawing. It should not be like that. First, you have to identify what are the actors there. Is there any user? Is there any vendor? Who are there in your system? Then you have to identify your system. पूरा सिस्टम क्या है. सिस्टम इज बेसिकली इजी टू आइडेंटिफाई. Obviously, if that is a coffee machine system, so that will be your system. Then the most important thing comes, you have to identify your use cases. Keep one thing with regard to use cases. You can increase the use cases for what has been asked in the question, but you cannot reduce them. For example, in the question, there are 3 use cases mentioned, that a person has to log in, then suppose the coffee machine will serve the coffee, and the third use case is suppose bill check. If these 3 terms are mentioned there, so you have to first identify these 3 terms. Apart from them, if you need anything that may help in your overall use case diagram, you may include that, but you cannot miss any of them. इसमें से कोई मिस नहीं कर सकते हैं. Whatever has been asked in the question, that is the bare minimum requirement that has to be there. उसके सिवा if you are adding something and it's adding some extra information to your system, you may include. But whatever is written in the question, those many actors, those many use case, and those many relationships, they should be at least present. You cannot miss them. Where marks will be cut? If this is just a drawing and you can draw anything, then where the marks will cut? Marks will be deducted if the question has asked 3 use actors and you have drawn 2 actors. अगर पूरा एसोसिएशन और रिलेशनशिप ही if you have made wrong, तो फिर तो पूरा क्वेश्चन ही गलत है. For example, suppose in the question is explicitly asking you to use this include, but instead of include you have used extend, so that will be a whole thing wrong, whole diagram will be wrong. But where the minor mistakes will come, the question is asking for 4 actors and you have made 3 actors. You have replaced the primary actors with secondary actors. You have not included all the use cases asked in the question. How you will identify this, that I have to use include? For example, if there is a statement that you are the say librarian, and whenever a person places a order, suppose you places an order, you try to place an order, you are a librarian, and when you are placing, this is how the statement is written, and when you are placing an order, if the money is exceeding certain amount, you will give a error message. This is the statement, or you will report to your higher authority, something of that kind. So if this word is coming, what does this mean? Will you use include or will you use extend? You are a librarian, you are trying to place an order, and if the order exceeds a particular amount, you will show some error message or do something, extend, right? Because you are not. So how this diagram will look like, how this function, you are a librarian, you are placing order, and if the value of the order increases a certain amount, suppose you are giving a error message, this is dotted line, okay, and extend, yeah, right. So this is how the relationship will look like. Okay, you are the librarian, you are trying to place an order, and if the order exceeds a certain amount, you are giving an error message or doing whatever as per the question. So this is how the question will be written, and you have to identify. Instead of that, if there is an example, for example, suppose the same thing, you are a librarian, you are placing an order, and every time you are placing an order, you are suppose raising a flag. You are a librarian, you are placing an order, and with every order you are raising a flag, or suppose with every order you are collecting some money for the charity. So now you have to get the essence. He is saying every time the order is placed, he is doing something. So when every time order is placed, he is doing something, means include. So the arrow will reverse, and here will come include. So this is how you have to identify the use cases, and the most important thing, relationships. The worst mistake, that this is a very simple example, okay, this is a very simple subject in itself. The only mistake you can do is just the silly mistakes. No conceptual mistake is possible. If you अगर आधा अधूरा भी क्लास सुना है, no conceptual mistakes are possible. Okay, क्या ही गलत बना लोगे use case diagram में. Only, as I've told you, you are missing something. You are missing the actors, you are missing the number of use cases. The worst mistake that you can do is this, relationships, getting confused with the relationship. Because in the use case diagram, there are no complicated relationships. Every relationships are, you can say, in block wise. Everyone is distinguishable enough with each other. You can easily read a sentence and say whether it is include or whether it is extend. Association is this simple. Association is nothing. It is directly connection. The fourth relationship is this generalization. Generalization is inheritance basically. So how its statement will be written? It can be written anyways. For example, they can to search a person may use. For example, they say that you have to draw a telephone directory. You have to draw a book search engine. You have to draw a book search engine, and for the book search engine, a person or suppose a user is trying to search a book. Then there will be a full stop. The next statement will say to search a book, he may call by number or he may search by the author. Just this will be written. So with this statement only, you have to identify that okay, he is talking about generalization or inheritance. That to search, he may use either call number or he may use author. Okay, with practice you will get it. No issues. Fine. So this is include. This was the bank example we have seen, right? You need not connect every actor to everything. Firstly, you have to see in the question. Question will say that a customer is placing an order for the coffee. Then the coffee machine is doing something. तो जितना बोला है उतना ही करना है. उससे ज़्यादा कर सकते हो. You can make these lines also, but stick to what has been asked in the question. Okay, just stick to that only. Bare minimum. Don't miss anything. Include everything whatever is in the question. That's it. It will be fine. Okay, not a very tough thing. Right? And there are these extension points. This extension points. In most of the examples, you will find these extension points to be used. These nodes not to be used always, but these extension points are a bit helpful. Okay, you can use them. So what are the extension points? Suppose extension points are nothing but this extent which you are showing with the arrow. It is just giving your textual representation here, that what are we going to do. For example, if you are creating the setup profile use case, so in the setup profile, if you want to create something like this, that it should give two more options also, like profile help option should be there and privacy info option should also be there. So these are not include. It will not come into include option. Why? Because every time a user is creating his profile, he is not going into help and is not going into info all the times. Only in some of the cases when he needs the help, he will go there. So these are your extents. Iske bina bhi you could have written it like this, no issues. If you could have just deleted this and drawn it like this will also be fine. This will also work fine. But this extent or extent points basically, they give some more. They give action kind of a thing that okay, if you are setting up a profile, because you have to follow this arrow. Okay, so some people might get confused of what this arrow is leading to and other stuff. So you can just provide some extension parts that okay, if you are setting up profile, I'm giving you two more options: profile help and profile info. If you want, you can go there. Got it? So this is how the overall system will look like. Okay, this is the banking app system. This is the another example which we have seen. Okay, here if you see in this example, this is the user who is initiating withdrawal, who is initiating balance inquiry, and who is initiating pin reset. Only when he is initiating these things, we can say that server is coming into picture, and then the server is providing backend to withdrawal, backend to balance inquiry, and backend to pin reset. So he is the reactionary or the secondary actor, and he is the initiator or the primary actor. Now see this maintenance engineer, this use case maintenance. This is only initiated by this maintenance engineer. Only when the maintenance engineer initiates this maintenance use case, then only the server is coming into picture. You can also think it in the reverse way, that why this user and maintenance engineer has to be the primary actors. We can also say that the server is initiating these four process use cases, and then the user is coming as a secondary actor, and then the maintenance engineer is coming as the secondary actor. Getting what I'm saying? That instead of from left to right, you can say that server is my primary actor. He's initiating everything. And these user and maintenance engineers are providing backend support. But we will not say that. Why? Why user and maintenance engineer is only your primary actors? Tell me anything you can think of. Because generally user is on the maintenance. Yeah, because it is logical, right? If you are seeing this diagram, you will not say that server is something that is initiating the process. It is very logical that a user will only initiate the process. And this is a logical diagram only, right? It is not a code, it is a logical diagram only that you are showing. So that is why we say that user is a primary actor, maintenance engineer, server is a non-living thing here. We also know that. Okay, so that is why we are saying that user is the only one that is initiating the process and maintenance is the only one that is initiating the process. Let's see one more example. So this is the ATM machine example. Okay, so this is our actor, that is the customer. This is our system boundary of the ATM, and these are my use cases: withdrawal case, cash, check balance. Uses, see, okay, see, uses, you write it like this. Suppose this is my base class which is using some other classes. For example, take any example. For example, suppose I read. Reading is a use case. For reading, suppose I use a book. For reading, I use a book. I may also use, or I may know, I also uses, suppose, specs to read. So this is the only use cases. Okay, it is not very important, as I told you earlier. Just keep this thing in mind. If you look at it, how you write a uses relationship, you draw a line with the arrow. And what is a line with the arrow between two use cases? What is this? A line with the arrow. This is generalization, right? Inheritance. यही तो symbol है inheritance का भी. This symbol or a line with the arrow. So if on that symbol you write uses, it will become a uses relationship. Okay. The problem with users is it is very confusing. You can say, sir, instead of users we could have included you include also. If every time you are using a book to read, you can use include instead of users. If sometime you are using a book or a specs to read, you can use extend also. So the work or the utility which this uses provides is already provided by either include or exclude. Getting it? So that is why it is not very helpful, because what uses is saying that to read you need a book and a specs. Now the question comes, do you all the time needs this book and specs? If all the time you need them, then use include. If sometime you use these books and specs, then use extend. Getting it? So this users relationship doesn't provide a much of the utility. So that's why you see this is a third example we are seeing, and you will not see uses here. In most of the, I will show you one more example. See this example. Here also you will see include and extend only. There are no users relationship because this is not very popular. But you can use them. Apart from this, there are 3-4 more kind of generalizations also. Okay, these relationships are something, for example, on a dotted line, why you are writing the name here, include or extend, because actually in the industry there are more kind of relationships also for making more complicated diagrams, the real life diagrams. Okay, they are not making ATM diagrams or a banking diagram in the real life. They are making complicated softwares, so they are making use cases for them. So they require some more additional use cases. They require some more additional relationships. If you see in your star UML or visual paradigm, when you will code in the lab, there are some other relationships also, but we are not concerned with everything. Okay, because these softwares are for industrial purposes. Star UML or visual padding especially, they are for industrial purposes. Okay, but for a particular diagram, what are the essentials? What are the main things that we are going to see in all the diagrams constantly? That is what we are concerned with mostly. Okay, but still, just keep this thing in mind. This there is a something known as uses, and you can use this if you want. Okay, depending on the question. But generally, you will not need that. With only extend, include, association, and generalization, the diagram will be completed. Okay. Now, so this was our ATM system diagram. Okay, so this is the actor, customer. These are our use cases: withdraw case, cash, check balance, donate money, transfer money, pay bills. So these are the association lines. You can draw them directly also. Just for the visual representation, they have drawn it like this and then this. Okay, it's up to you. So this means that this actor is initiating withdrawal cash, check balance. All these use cases are initiated by this actor. And whenever an actor does anything, either he withdraws a cash or he checks balance, he does anything, automatically see in all the use cases there is an include. Whatever this customer try to do, automatically the next use case that will be called is login. You whatever you want to do, first login. And in the login, there are two extension points. One is the invalid password entered and abort or triggered. So means when you are logging, if suppose your password is incorrect, so it will send you to some other use case, some other system. And if suppose there is some error that came, then again it will send you to some other system or other use case. But this is a simple example, nothing complicated here. Let's see this example. This is the online exam system. Sometimes in the question they can directly ask you without giving you the specification that draw the use case diagram for the online examination system. So in those cases, if they are, for example, for with respect to sequence diagram, they can ask you directly create an online exam system sequence diagram. Okay, so in those cases you actually get more freedom. If someone has just said you draw the online exam system and there are 50 students in the class, then every student can make a different use case. It is possible, right? Because you will define your actors, how many actors you need. You will define your use cases, how many use cases you will need. You will define your relationships also. Everything will be defined by you. So see, one thing is very important in the use case diagrams. Generally, with every diagram, this is possible, but especially with regard to this use case diagram, everyone can have a different solution. There are possible solutions. If you are sticking to the question, what the question is asking, there are possible solutions. There are different possible solutions in which a use case diagram can be made. Right? So just look at this diagram and tell me any doubts you have with anything. Tell me the primary actor and the secondary actor here. Think about it and then tell me. What do you think is the primary actor and what do you think is the secondary actor? Primary examiner, secondary student. The examiner is primary because he is making up the question bank. Examiner primary, student is secondary. Student primary, teacher secondary. Okay. Okay, just think in this way. Is there any use case? Who is a primary actor? Who initiates a use case? Right? Okay, for example, here the examiner is preparing the question bank and he is preparing the examination. So he is your primary actor. Okay, fine, good. Now look at the student. He is taking up the examination use case and he is seeing the results. With the help of this diagram, who is the primary actor? Who initiates the process? Who is the secondary actor? When the primary actor initiates the process, then the secondary actor responds to it. For example, if the use case would have been like this, that one actor is here, he is initiating this process, then the other actor is responding to it. Then it is possible to say that this is my primary actor, this is my secondary actor. You are able to distinguish between them. If you see in this example, you are taking an examination. You are taking a examination. It is possible that in the backend the examiner must have created the question bank, but is this use case is anyhow associated with the examiner directly, that this is coming like this? If there was an association from examiner to this take exam, then we can say that okay, examiner is associated with this take examination and he must be a primary actor, then the student is a secondary actor. But in this case, it is not explicitly mentioned. We can also think it in the other way, that this is a student and he is initiating this take examination use case. He is initiating this review example results. So he can also be a primary actor. So it is not always possible, this example, that's why I showed you. This is not always possible to distinguish primary and secondary actors. Okay, and while making the use case diagrams also, you should not be concerned with, yeah, both can be primary, right? So if there were only Java question, then would there be extend relationships? Yeah, that is how you create inheritance in Java, na? But why you're confusing this with Java questions? This use case diagram is not a programming language dependent. This is OOPS concept language dependent. Okay, these star UMLs and other things provide an opportunity to convert this into a Java source code. But use case diagrams are not converted into source code. Okay, this is just a diagrammatic representation. It has nothing to do with Java or C++. Okay, you are asking in this diagram, sir, if there were this Java questions. Yeah, what you are asking, sir, if there were only Java questions, then would there be extend relationships? Means only Java questions. This is not there. Then there would be include, no? Then there would be include. Then there may also be extend also. You can also remove this, because it is possible that when the examiner is preparing the question bank, extend means he may include Java questions, but it is also possible that he may include some other questions which you are not showing with your use case diagram. That is also a possibility. So it doesn't mean if there is only Java questions, there will be extend or include. Depends on the question. Okay, if suppose the statement is like this, that there is an examiner who is preparing a question bank and he is setting some Java questions in the paper. Okay, so the statement says that he is setting some Java questions in the paper. Now it is not clear whether all the questions are Java questions, whether from all the questions some questions are Java questions. So you can use either extend, or you can use include, or even you don't have to use anything. You can directly write here preparing some Java questions. Or if the statement says something like this, that there is an examiner who is creating a question bank and he is including some logical reasoning questions and some Java questions also. And every paper has different combination of both of them. So now to solve this kind of statement, you need to use this extend command 2 times. First, if he is trying to create this Java questions, or he is trying to create this question bank, he may include some Java questions. He may include some, say, logical reasoning or C++ questions also. It's up to him what he wants to include. So you have to get the essence of the question, what it's trying to say. And if it's only you have to draw the online examination system, then it's up to you what you want to use, how you want to use. Before drawing, just write down all the things first. Okay, that these are my actors, because these are the only questions that will come in your exam mostly, right? So have a look at all the diagrams that we are seeing and making also, because the basic structure of every diagram will remain the same. Instead of this online exam system, suppose there is a online e-shopping cart system you have to draw. Then again, there will be a customer here, user. In the backend, there will be Flipkart. Suppose you will log in. Okay. Then after login, what's happening? You just have to imagine the system first. Whenever you're writing a use case diagram, just imagine the things first. Okay. And also try to keep the sequence. If you see here, see this diagram. In this diagram also, first with the ATM machine, the most important thing is the withdrawal cache. So the withdrawal cache use case is kept on the top. Then the next important thing is the check balance. And more than important, it is the sequence that is to be followed. For example, with this examination system, first we are seeing that the paper is getting set up and then the examination is getting prepared up. Okay, so most often than not, just try to write everything in the sequence from top to bottom. If you mix match them, then also it will not be wrong, but visually it will be wrong. So marks can be deducted for that. So does extension provides a choice of how many options we can select from? Nee, see extension, this extend you are saying, na? This extend you are saying, na? Okay, extension points. Yeah, this says these are your choices. Extension points says these are your choices. It is nothing but just what you have shown with the help of extend. You have just a visual representation here only. So that if a person sees this use case diagram and the first, सबसे पहले suppose he sees this use case, prepare question bank, then he need not see left or right. He can directly see that, okay, whenever you are preparing a question bank, you have two options. Either you can use Java questions or you can use C++ questions. These are the options. Extend is option, right? Extend is option. Only in some cases Java will be included. Only in some cases C++ will be included. If instead of extend there was include, then whenever you are preparing a question bank, suppose it's something like this. Instead of this extend, for the Java questions it's include. For the C++ questions it's extend. So what does this mean? Suppose यहाँ से Java हटा दो. So it means when you are preparing a question bank, every time you are including the Java questions in all your questions bank, there are Java questions for sure. But in some of your questions, C++, in some of your question papers, C++ questions are also there. That would be meant by this use case there. But every time you're trying to prepare a question bank, you are including the Java questions every time, all the time. But sometimes only you are including the C++ questions. Got it? So with this, the use case diagrams are finished. Any doubts, anyone? Clear? So the next thing that we will see with the class and object diagrams. Okay. Class and object diagrams we will see, then we will move towards activity sequence diagrams and other stuffs. So before that, one topic I want to discuss with you. So whatever I am teaching, just take a short note of that. Okay. It is not in the PPT. Just take short notes. So I want to talk about a very small concept here, just a 5-6 minutes concept it is, that is coupling and cohesion. Have you heard this term in software engineering? Coupling and cohesion. Have you heard this term in software engineering? Because ये उसका ही syllabus है, but फिर भी एक बार मैं बताना चाह रहा हूँ. सुना या नहीं? नहीं सुना? नहीं, chemistry वाला नहीं है. Okay, so see, what is coupling and cohesion is, उससे पहले there is a term known as, whatever I'm teaching, just in your own words, take a short note of that. Okay, there is a term known as modularization. What does this modularization means? For example, you are trying to create a software. You are trying to create a big software. Suppose Flipkart software you want to create, right? Now to create this software, what I will do, I will divide this software into blocks or modules. For example, this will be my login module, login and logout module. This will be my authentication module. This will be my products module. This will be my customer service module. So what I will do to create a big product or a big software, this is how the softwares are created, right? One developer or one coder is not going to create the whole thing. He will divide, or the company will divide the whole software into small modules, and every module will be given to one developer to code. So this is known as modularization, that you have divided the whole software into small modules, and every module is independent of itself. Means if you have given this login logout module to one developer or one coder, and you have given this products module to another coder, they are independent. They need not share much of their data. Some minor things will be shared, but majorly they are independent. They can work independent. And finally, when everything is done, they are mixed up, okay, or concatenated. So this is known as modularization. So what coupling and cohesion means? Suppose I have divided my whole software into 3 modules. This is module A, this is module B, this is module C. This whole Flipkart software I divided into 3 modules. This is my login logout module, this is say my authentication module, and this is say my products catalog module. Now inside the module, also suppose there are some components. For example, there is a component A, there is a component B, there is a component C, there is a component D, there is a component E, there is a component F. So what we have done, we have divided the whole software into 3 modules, module A, module B, module 3, and each module is having two components. Now if suppose these two components inside the module A, these two components are interacting with each other, means they are sharing the data, they are using one another functions, they are using one another's diagrams, they are using one another's hardware, means they are interacting in some way or the other. If that is happening, this will be known as cohesion. Cohesion, just like the English meaning, cohesion. There is cohesivity between them. Okay, they are interacting with each other, they are close to each other, they are cohesive in nature. So this is known as cohesion. If these two are interacting, that will be known as cohesion. If these two are interacting, that will be known as cohesion. So this is intra-module communication. Cohesion is intra-module communication, means inside a module, whatever components or programs or functions, whatever is there, and they are trying to interact with each other, we will say there is cohesion. And if these two modules, module A is interacting with module B, module A is interacting with module C, module B is interacting with module C, if modules are interacting with each other, that will be known as coupling. Means inter-module communication. You have created one login module, you have created one products catalog module, and if these two modules are interacting with each other, that will be known as coupling. Now itni kahani sunne ke baad, what do you think we need in our project? We need coupling or we need cohesion? More zyada kya chahiye? Dekho hoga dono real life, both of these will be there in real life, but what we need to maximize, just think again what I told you in modularization with respect to that, think and then tell me why cohesion. What is modularization? I've told you, whenever you're trying to create a software, you are dividing it into small parts, and the next line which I said was every module or every part should be independent of each other. This was the second line which I told you in modularization, remember? So this is the ideal state, means if I'm trying to create a software, the ideal thing I want that I should separate these modules and they should never interact with each other. They should be as independent as possible. And what does coupling means? Coupling means these modules will interact. Now tell me, should there be coupling more or should there be cohesion more? Just think it this way, cohesion, right? So there has to be cohesion more. Why not coupling? Because see, logically see, if this login module is dependent on this products catalog model for anything, and if some error happens in this product catalog module, then the same error will be there in the login module also. If you want to perform any change in this login module, then the same change has to be performed in this product catalog module also. So with more coupling, what is happening? The modules are interacting more. Coupling means modules will interact. More coupling means more modules are interacting with each other. तो अगर सबको interact ही कराना था तो एक साथ ही कोड करा लेते, ऐसे मॉड्यूल बनाने की जरूरत क्या थी? That is the thing. So whenever you're trying to create a software, you have to maximize the cohesion, because cohesion is good in the module. जितना जितना pass, it's like this. Suppose there are two houses, so it's not necessary that both the houses have to interact with each other. उनमें लड़ाई भी होगी चलेगा, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. But inside the house, all the family members should live in cohesion, in synchronous. Okay, they should be in sync with each other. They should not fight. So this is your house, and these are the family members inside the house. So every family member should be in love and respect with each other. They should not fight. So that is cohesion. So cohesion is good, and coupling is not good. In real life, both will be there. But what we want as an ideal state is we have to maximize this cohesion and we have to minimize this coupling. Got it? So there are a few types of also coupling and cohesion. So I think it will take 10 minutes. Shall I tell you right now, or you want this in the next class? It will take 10 minutes around. Okay. Okay, so we will see in the next class. Okay. Sure. Thank you. Have your lunch. Bye.